Well, welcome once again to Calaveras Living. You know, the Resource Connection Food Bank is a very important, not only resource, as the title would lead you to believe, but also a great help to many, many people in the area. And we're going to learn as much as we can about that organization and what they're doing to help many, many people. And we're going to talk first with the director, Jeannie Hayward, and also with the outreach coordinator, Tina Mather, and good to see you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Well, it's good to see you, and you do a lot of things. Maybe one thing that you explained to me too, and maybe you can explain to the people out there, Jeannie, is Resource Connection covers an umbrella of a number of arms, right?
It does. The Resource Connection is like an umbrella to 5 programs that we operate in Calaveras and Amador counties. So we operate a Head Start program in Calaveras. We operate a crisis center here in Calaveras County. We operate a WIC program, Women, Infant, Children program, in both Amador and Calaveras. And we also operate child care resource and referral in both Amador and Calaveras counties. So we cover the gamut with a lot of different services for families.
Well, how many people do you employ?
The organization employs about 120.
Wow.
Yeah, give or take.
And then a number of volunteers too.
A number of volunteers,
okay.
Yeah, especially at the food bank.
I would guess you really need people.
We do.
We
do.
And we'll talk about that a little later. And then, Tina, you take care of the Calaveras Food Project, right?
Yes, it's a new project that we have at the food bank. It started shortly after I started there in March. We've had 2 donation cycles, and we're up and running, and it's a fantastic project.
Okay, and we're going to cover that in a little more detail. We'll get back to you and get all the scoop on that and how people can help each other and kind of shop around. It's 6 times a year. Well, anyway, we'll get into that.
Okay.
Okay. So, Jeannie, what are your major concerns? You know.
Well, I would tell you that the numbers are still high of the numbers of families that we're serving. Mm-hmm. At the food bank, we're serving about 900 families a month.
Is that kind of typical this time of year, or in the last few years?
I would say that over the course of the last 5 years, we've kind of seen a really high numbers of well over 1,000 a month. And I'm hoping, I want to knock on wood a little bit, that we've hit the crest and we're coming down a little bit. So from 1,000 a month to about an average of 900 a month, that's still a huge need. There's still a lot of people that are hungry in our community. But to see it come down a little bit, there could be a couple of reasons for that. A lot of the very, very poor living at the bottom of the economic pyramid may be leaving our community because they can't find jobs. And our overall demographics in Calaveras County has shrunk as far as the number of people living in Calaveras County has shrunk a little bit. And so you can contribute to that. You can also contribute it to perhaps some of those people are finding jobs out of the area or finding jobs locally and don't need the services as often or regularly than they did before. But what we're still seeing, which Tina, you can talk about a little bit. She did a mobile pantry today in West Point with other staff, and 3 new families came. So we're still seeing new families that come through that have never been to the food bank before. That hasn't stopped.
Okay. Now, at that 900 level, does that really tax the bank? I mean, is that too many?
It taxes the bank.
Okay. Doesn't it sound funny to tax a bank?
I know. It's very difficult when it comes to funding, when it comes to volunteers, when it comes to serving that many people a month. That puts a strain on resources in a lot of different ways. You know, as we come down, I hope we can come down to the cycle and get it a little bit more even keel so it's not quite so high. But I have to go out and do quite a bit of fundraising in order to keep us going. It's not just, we're a private nonprofit organization, not just funded by the government, so to speak. So
the government's hurting you too.
That's right. That's right.
Now, where do you procure most of your food? From donations or organizations?
We are part of Feeding America, which is a private nonprofit organization that provides food from the big box companies, the General Mills, the big stores, the Safeways, and all of those. And it comes all the way down to Calaveras County. And so we have access to that food in Manteca, we go and pick up, and we receive that at a very small cost, basically just to pay for the transportation
Okay, but
costs.
you don't get it free.
Don't get it exactly free, but
No,
it's
but
very, very small,
close to that.
small cost. We also then go and shop where the grocery stores shop. So we try to do as much wholesaling as we can. So at the Simcoes and the different food places where grocery stores get their foods, LA Foods and Global Foods and those kind of things. So we shop there. And we'll shop local sometimes. We have some projects where we do shop local quite a bit.
Is that when you have a special need for certain types of food?
Yeah,
or-
so we shop local for fresh produce sometimes at Outer Isle.
Okay.
Up in the Murphys area.
Sure.
They provide us for what we call our Kids Farmers Market, and we'll do some Save Mart and also Outer Isle. So we do shop local. We buy from different grocery stores, especially during the holidays. We try to keep that very local as much as we can.
Okay, who actually does that shopping? Volunteers or people who employed there?
We have a warehouse coordinator our
Who
food
does
bank
that?
coordinator who does all the shopping for us. And when I'm talking shopping, it's not going through the grocery store and picking out things, it's buying things by the pallet.
Okay, and
So
it's
I'm
a
shopping
separate area.
Huge, and putting that into our warehouse.
Okay.
So pretty large quantities of food. To give you, if you want to know, poundage so far this year, we've served about 575,000 pounds of food.
Wow.
We'll hit over 1 million before the end of the year.
That's pretty typical?
That's been typical for the last 3 years.
Okay.
Is well over 1 million. But about 35% of that is in fresh produce. And that's really important to us. That high nutrient value that we can give our clients is really, really important
Yeah, because
to us.
boxed up and canned things, I mean, you're trying to get things that are the best for people's health.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Oh, maybe. Okay, before we go any further, Tina, maybe you're kind of the specialist in the Calaveras Food Project. Can you describe it for the viewers out there and for me?
Yes, like I said, it's a brand new project. Most food banks, when you think of a food bank, you think of a food drive.
Sure.
Now I'm going to flip it a little bit.
Okay.
I'm looking for a donor. I'm doing a donor drive. I want donors. I want people who are going to make a commitment to donate food to us 6 times a year. It's not a lot. So, John, if I were going to talk to you about the project and get you excited about joining the project, let me ask you this: do you have 10 friends?
Do I have 10 friends? Probably. No, I think I think I do. Yeah, and a couple enemies too.
10 friends. So they could be people that work here at the studio with you. They could be a couple of, I don't know, golf buddies maybe.
Well,
Church
people, yeah.
Church people? Okay. So you're going to go out and you're going to talk to your friends and you're going to say, you know what? I'm part of the Calaveras Food Project. How about you join with me? All you have to do is fill a bag full of food, and we give you the bag. Isn't that fantastic?
Very
Fill
good.
it full of food one time every other month. Turn it back into you if you're my leader, and then you take all of the bags and you bring them to the food bank once every other month.
Okay, so 6 times a year.
6 times a year.
And you get to keep the bag for the next 2 months.
Yes.
huh?
So
Okay.
you see, I have 20 bags here. Let's say I asked you if you had 10 friends. So what you're going to do is you're going to pass out the bags. We have handy little tags on there that you would fill out when you want your group to bring the bag back to you. And then you're going to fill out your information so they know how to call you, just in case you forget, but you won't forget.
Okay.
On the back of the card, they can fill out what it was that they donated, and they keep this. So once they know that what time it is to bring the bag back to you, the card's no longer good anymore. So then if they fill out the back, they can keep it in a drawer where they keep all of their tax information, because everything is tax deductible, which is a good point. We also give you a card. You want to help, we make it easy. And we give you a list on the back of the things that we're looking for. But this
Okay.
isn't all that we're looking for. You say people need a place to start. You know, when you put something in your grocery cart, you want to make sure that it's something that we want.
Sure.
So we give you a core group of items that we really do want, that we use all the time, day in and day out.
These are all non-perishable?
All non-perishable
Okay.
items. And then we ask you to think about what you have in your pantry. You have in your pantry the exact same items our families need in their pantry. So put a couple of those items in there as well. Take advantage of your store specials, the buy one, get one freeze, 10 items for $10, and before you know it, your bag is full. And I'm not asking you to make an extra trip to the grocery store. I'm asking you to shop when you shop for your family. And just toss in a couple of items every time you go grocery shopping. 2 months, the bag's full.
Good. And this started when?
This started, we had our first collection in June. We started, when I started at the Resource Connection Food Bank in March. We've had 2 collection cycles. We had one in June, and we had one last month in August. So far, we've collected 4,790 pounds of food.
Well, that's good. And how many people does that come down to who participate?
Well, it's an ever-changing thing, because I have people signing up every day. New partner, we call them a partnership leader, because we're asking you to join a partnership to commit to us. It changes all the time. I signed up a new partner leader just last week up in Arnold. And how many people? We suggest 10, but it doesn't have to be 10. I have groups as small as 4. Every bag counts.
Okay, so you could have just 6 friends.
Absolutely.
Okay. Or you could have 12.
If you're in a pinch, we'll go with 6.
Well, that's good. So how of course, you recruit kind of the core people, and then they recruit their friends.
And we're hoping that it becomes so popular that people talk about it. I'm hoping that when they go out grocery shopping, I encourage them to take their bag, because it starts a conversation. And we need to have a serious conversation about hunger in our community, because it's a real thing. And we can't turn a blind eye to it. So it's a positive way to start a really good conversation. And I say fighting hunger, the solution is in the bag, because it really is. One bag at a time, we're going to feed our people.
So then we take that food and we divide it between the food bank, and we have 14 pantries in Calaveras County that also come to the food bank to get food.
Okay.
So half of that goes back out to the pantries very quickly. So pantries have access to this food as well, which really helps them in many ways to find the kinds of food that sometimes they can't afford to buy and we can't afford to buy. It's, peanut butter is very expensive. But if peanut butter is on the list and we're getting peanut butter donated, it really makes a difference for what pantries can afford to go out and purchase, what we can go out and purchase things. It really helps round things out. So when you asked me earlier, where do we get our food? The third leg of that is through donations.
And not only that, John, but if you think about it, I just mentioned that I had a new partnership starting in Arnold. We have pantries in Arnold. So the people who donate, even though that food is coming to us all the way in San Andreas, they can be confident that the food that they're donating is actually going into their individual communities as well. It's not all staying in San Andreas.
Okay.
It's going to our pantries, which are throughout the county.
So it's getting back to their local area.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's who came up with that idea?
It actually started in Ashland, Oregon, believe it or not. Grassroots.
I didn't think anybody in Ashland needed food. That's a very affluent area.
It started as a grassroots project up there, and they've shared it. I don't actually know how far through the United States it spread, but that's where it originated, and Tuolumne County is doing a program very similar to it as well. We've changed it a little bit to suit our needs. Normally it's only on a Saturday that the bags are donated to the food bank, but we've made it open. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. We're open 5 days a week, so you can drop your food by any time. We're not as structured, because we're the actual food bank, so we can be a little bit more flexible with the time frames.
Okay. In general, at the food bank, do many people just drive by and say we have food at the food bank?
Well, I will tell you, during the summertime and the springtime, we get a lot of people that have gardens that bring us fresh produce, which is awesome. During the holidays, of course, we have a lot of people come by that come in and donate turkeys or hams or food or whatever, and we do our big Santa's Express food drive during that period of time. During the rest of the course of the year, it's kind of hit and miss. And so this ensures that we have a steady supply of food coming in to the food bank on a regular basis.
More predictable.
More predictable, and we can count on it. And it's growing every distribution. I think the first one was a little over 1,000 pounds, and the next one was,
Over 3,000.
yeah. So it continues to grow, and our goal is, I'm hoping to get it 10,000 pounds each time.
Every 2 months. Huh?
Yeah.
Won't that be fantastic?
And I think it's doable. I really do. When you stop and think about how many people can bring in a bag of food, I mean, that's not very, if it's on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah,
If I'm
actually,
just
a
bringing
bag isn't that much. I mean,
No.
it's in its own way, it's sizable, but it's not that much.
And I think, John, most people want to help.
Sure.
They just don't know where to start. And the Calaveras Food Project is a great place to start. It's simple. It doesn't take any extra time out of your day if you're a member, because you're shopping when you normally shop. The hardest thing is to get your bag to the partnership leader, and it's usually not that hard because it's someone you work with. It's someone you see on a regular basis. You bring your food, and the leader brings it to us. And they're only making a commitment of making the trip to San Andreas every other month.
Yeah, just 6
that's not a lot of
times a year.
time.
Do most of the people even care if it's tax deductible, or they just give it? I mean, I wouldn't think. Okay.
I don't think
But we
so.
want to make that available. We want to
Sure.
make sure that they have that information.
Yeah, that's good. Now, any other thing we should learn about the project?
Well, I'm looking for new members all the time.
Okay.
They can come. They can call the Resource Connection Food Bank. Ask for me. My name is Tina. I'd be happy to talk to them.
Okay, good. Now you said you're always need, I mean, more money, more volunteers, all that. Some events are coming up, right? I mean, there's, of course, Santa's Express in December.
Exactly.
But before that, there's a dinner dance,
There's
right?
a dinner dance November 22nd at the fairgrounds, and we'll start selling tickets for that pretty soon. There's also opportunities right now for people to come and volunteer. We need people every week to come in and bag produce, put grocery bags together for us. That is never ending. But coming up with the holidays, we will have huge volunteer days where all of the food that we accumulate during Santa's Express time do you remember our red boxes that we have out in the community? You see the Santa's Express red boxes
I think I
in
do.
a lot of
I don't
different
know.
places. What happens is we gather all that food and then we sort it and we pack it so that we can give that out at our Christmas distribution. And that's going to be on December 22nd. So it's a huge event. We do the event at the food bank, we do it in West Point and in Murphy's all on the same day. So we're going to be doing our Stuff the Bus turkey and ham drives at the grocery stores starting the first part of November, and that'll go every weekend through December. So a lot of things are going to be happening very, very shortly that we need lots of volunteers for.
Okay. When a volunteer is bagging something, or who's ever going to give it to the actual family member, how is it determined how much food is given to each family?
Well, we have a little formula that we use at the food bank. We kind of average it for a family of 4 is what we do. If it's a larger family, of course, we can give them extra food. If it's a smaller family, we just leave it as is. They can take the extra food, and we don't worry about that. So we have our own little what we want in the bags and how much we want in the bags and how much produce people get and all of that. But it's quite a bit of food. Families can come once a month to the food bank for food. They can go to a pantry in their area when they're open, and there's opens all different times. We also have a commodities program at 9 sites in Calaveras County. So that happens the first Thursday of every month. And then we're coming to our last produce days, but we have produce days at the food bank and out in the community twice a month. It will end in October, but it started in May, so it's about half the year. So that really gives families 4 opportunities to access food in the community somewhere.
Okay.
So-
Do they, when they come for food, when you say they can come once a month or whatever it is, they can't, or how are they kept track of if they came by more often?
We keep track. We have a whole computer system that keeps track when they were there last and when they picked up food and what other services we offer, because we talked about being the resource connection. We also do a lot of resourcing for families. So if they come in, we ask a lot of questions. So we can help them with their PG&E if they have a shut-off with their PG&E.
Oh, okay.
We can help them with a program called HEAP, where we can refer them out to ATCA. We can help them with gas or propane vouchers. So we do a lot. We refer families to our other programs. We refer them to Job Connection. You know, we want to make sure that we're referring people to places where they can get help and not having to go from place to place to place to place, not knowing about the resources.
Okay. Are all these arms of Resource Connection in close proximity?
They're not too far. They're not too far. We try to connect, like a client will come in, and Tina does a lot of client intakes as well, and so a client may come in and she might take down information and call the WIC office and refer a client, and then that kind of puts them all together. So we do a lot of those kinds of referrals out to people that come in that really need help.
Have you ever had to just not give anybody anything at a particular time?
No, I don't really think so. I don't think we deny people food for any reason.
I mean, it would be obviously very difficult to do that when you think they're in need.
There's been a couple of times somebody may have come in and really not understood what the food bank is all about, and their neighbor said, oh, come and get free food, and maybe they're way over income and they just didn't really understand it. So we might have a conversation with them and ask them some questions, and they might go, oh, that's not for me. And that's happened a couple of times, but generally speaking, if somebody's hungry, they're going to get food from us.
Okay, well, I mean that's just good to hear.
Yeah, they are.
And that you can only do what you can do, too.
Well,
I mean, your resources, you can't give to everybody everything they need, or you won't have the resources to do it.
But what we try to do is, like we were talking about the fresh vegetables and the fresh fruits and vegetables that we offer, is, you know, those are very expensive sometimes in the grocery stores. So if we can provide some of those items, and a lot of bread, we get donated bread that's just beautiful. You know how expensive bread is at the grocery store, right?
Bread is, especially if you want anything out of just, other than just white bread. I mean, if you want something unusual, focaccia or whole wheat or something,
exactly.
Sure.
So we have bread donors that Ora Wheat and Sir Lee that have donated bread to us on a regular basis. That's beautiful bread.
Sure.
So if we can give a family bread and produce and some canned vegetables and meat and maybe some pasta or some rice or beans or whatever, and it will alleviate them from having to buy those things, and they can use other money then to purchase the other things that they might need.
Yeah, at least they have to purchase some perishable things too. So they have to. What's the connection between the food bank and people having food stamps?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm glad you asked that, because we actually help people sign up for food stamps.
Oh, okay.
We work very closely with the county on that project. We call it food stamp outreach. And every client that comes in the door, we ask the question, are you signed up for food stamps? And we help them sign up, because that is the biggest security that they can have as far as food security goes, that gives them the discretionary income then to go and purchase food. Recently, the laws changed in California that upped the income that allowed more people to actually apply for apply for food stamps. The amount they receive might be minimal. You know, they might not get somebody, you know, as much as somebody that's at the very bottom, but it helps a lot of our seniors. So some of it, I would say the lowest amount somebody could get is maybe $16 a month on food stamps. Well, if you go shopping, and we did, for $16 worth of groceries,
if you shop right,
it's pretty.
You can't fill one of those bags with that, though.
But you can get quite a few items.
Yeah,
you can get
if you're a
cereal
smart shopper.
and
that's right.
So, you know, a lot of canned foods and those kind of things. Well, if somebody has $16 every month to spend on some things that they might really need to get them through the month, every little bit helps. And when you're living in that economic cycle and situation, a box of cold cereal makes a difference of whether your kids are going to have breakfast or not. And it does make a difference.
Do you work with the schools at all in that? You know, what the schools provide for lunch for kids or something?
We don't, because that's so separate. That is totally separate from us. We've done some projects with the schools.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That have been really fun. And we do a kids farmers market with our Head Start program, where we go out and we do a nutrition class with the kids, ages 3 to 5. where they make something. So one time they made spinach was on the agenda. So you know how kids don't like spinach.
Yeah.
So they had they made spinach salad and they made a spinach smoothie. And they got to take home a certificate that said, I tried spinach and I liked it.
Oh, that's good.
But with that, they got about 30 pounds of fresh produce that they got to take home. And so those kind of projects, we love to do that because that's education. We partner with our WIC program and our crisis center in a project like that. And that was funded by First Five.
Okay.
It's really neat to do those kind of projects.
That's good. Well, is there anything we haven't covered? Because time just kind of went like that.
It went really fast, didn't it?
Well, you're all saying good things.
Yeah. You know, I just, if we have a minute just to tell one story.
That's just about what we have.
Okay. So we had a client family of seniors, husband and wife, elderly, that came into the food bank not too long ago. And they were eating one meal a day. That's all they could afford. And they came in and we showed them where all of the pantries were. Our mobile pantry comes to their area. We gave them all the resources. And hand in hand, that husband and wife walked out the door. And the wife said, see, honey, I knew these nice people could help us. And they were so appreciative that they had a resource for food. And that story is not uncommon of what we see on a regular basis. So a project like the Food Project, a project like Santa's Express, it does make a difference when we do those things and the community supports us.
Good. Well, thanks a lot. So you folks out there, look for those green bags. Get yourself a green bag or talk to Tina and she can tell you how to do that or how to get in contact with your few or many friends. And that will help you. But you really do good work, both of you.
Great, thank you.
And,
Thank you.
I don't know how you take care of all that.
Every day's a challenge.
Yeah, it's like hosting talk shows. Okay. Anyway, it's good to see you, Jeannie.
Good to see you
Good to see you,
again.
Tina. All the best
Thank you.
with the project.
Thank you.
Good, and we'll see you next time on Calaveras Living. Thank you. Yeah, it does go quickly.